Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course. As perfect timing, Seth, we have the carousel of horses behind us as we open up. Alongside Seth Merrow, I am Anthony Mormino. We're on the backstretch at Clare Court on what can be rightfully described as another beautiful morning.
I drove up Crescent Street today to avoid, getting stuck. I've been doing that the last few days because my timing out here, I get stuck behind the horses.
Yeah, we talk about your timing a lot.
But that, if the Jim Bond horses, I'm still going to get stuck. But usually that works out pretty well.
Does it?
But it abuts right to the far turn, the middle of the far turn. As I drove up today, there had to be 30 horses, some of them working, and a whole slew of them on the outside rail, walking over to maybe start work.
We'd like to get their schedule so we can work around it. Like, when are you going to be crossing? What do you got?
Maybe Paul Matisse out there looking at, I guess maybe, I wonder if, maybe there's a Matisse brother horse working or something, but I don't know.
Many horses today. I mean, the traffic of all types is, Alabama week is intensified. I guess we're in like the, strongest 10 days part of the meet. The weather is glorious. If you have a little free time on this Thursday, once again, as I said, we have post time at 1:10. Come on down. You could be the next contestant on a beautiful day. Yeah, no,
it is a gorgeous, another gorgeous Saturday morning, or another gorgeous Thursday morning. Wednesday afternoon was perfect. I mean, it was a great day of racing yesterday, early in the week when I looked at the weather, it looked a little dicey. Last night it looked
seems
fine.
To be a theme this year.
Yeah. But last night it looked like we're in good shape here. So knock wood.
Very pleasant. I mean, I know. I think. Well, I know you used to be. I like the heat. I embrace it. But I do know that it's not as comfortable for some people, and being at the track around a lot of people in high heat might not be the most comfortable. But today, that will not be the case if you come on up. I think you'll have plenty of elbow room, and I think you'll have wonderful temperatures.
Yeah, no question. Again, very nice day. Let's give a little update as we are. 15 days left, correct? And currently, Irad Ortiz, 33 wins over Tyler Gaffleon at 27. Flavian Prat sits at 25. Dylan Davis, who continues to plug at the ROI. And congratulations yesterday, Kathleen O'Connell and Dylan, big price.
Boy.
Kathleen O'Connell, 25. Crazy. She comes up here, and she was here. Normally I think of her down at Tampa, but I think summertime down at Monmouth. But came up here with a horse yesterday, wins at a big price for win number 2,500. So congratulations.
I think the horse was 25 to 1. Right?
Yeah, exactly. 25 to 1, 2,500. Dylan Davis on board, and again, just
about. I mean, you can't. It's just about guarantees him beating the meet.
You would think you would.
I mean, it's
although they race enough, but you would have
so many live horses though, and that's the I mean, key.
At one point,
you go up the ladder. The next live horse in each race, you make it work. Now,
at one point, they were all double-digit winners, but so he's sitting at fourth. Flavian or Manny Franco sits at fifth at 17. But there's a 6-win margin between number 1 and number 2, Irad and Tyler. On the trainer side of things, Mike Maker on top of things on the trainer side with 15. Todd Fletcher with 14. Bill Mott 12. Mark Cassie 10. And Seth. Wait a minute. I knew that was not right. Mike Maker sitting second. Chad was on the first page. He's with 22. So there's a 7-win margin there.
Now, do you calibrate those 14. Yourself?
No, this is the daily recap.
So they don't put the ROI for the people. That's not good. That's not
the ROI for who? Like the trainers and the jockeys?
Yes. It's very.
Who does that?
Well, I mean,
regularly. I've seen people do it on Twitter, but I don't think it's a regular thing.
No, I'm just saying it should be like the Saratoga Special. I was looking; they left theirs, and without putting the ROI, it tells a story. Putting the ROI tells a completely different story. Probably a story that Jessica prefers a lot more, as she is 30 plus winners behind somebody, but she's $10 ahead of them with 30 fewer wins. Not enough people take stats class, but I think that's, I think that's, as I said to you before, it's only arithmetic. Now let's not make it like it's some accomplishment. It's just arithmetic. So that's imagine that being 30 behind but being ahead. Explaining that to somebody just walking in the building.
Well, I mean, back in the day, that was when you had the handicappers boxes in the Daily News and the Post. That was kind of the way. There was always somebody who was more logical and somebody who was taking some swings, and I think that's the case with the special.
Now they changed.
Well, no, she was still taking swings.
They changed the thing. They used to not put the ROI in there.
I don't know if they put the ROI back in the day in the Daily News and the Post either, but you knew which guy was swinging and which guy was more logical.
Yeah, that's true. I told you the last Harris Day he swept the card, right? He had $40 worth of winners.
Yeah, well,
doesn't look so good at the end.
That's how you're going to sweep. I mean, that's kind of the only way you're going to sweep. Really, you're not going to be sweep. It would have been tough to sweep yesterday with the $50 winner. You either have it or you don't. But yeah, so if you sweep, that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think it's only been like. Is he like the only one that's ever done it? I think a guy in San Diego did like an 8-race card. He swept it.
I've missed by one a bunch of times. It's like, ugh.
Bunch of times.
Well.
I think 5's the most I've ever had. I don't think. I did hit 6 or 7 in the Breeders' Cup one day, which was financially extremely rewarding.
But I mean, they weren't all here as well. Some were Finger Lakes over the years. But yeah, that's.
You went 8 for 9 at the Flakes. That's tremendous.
Thoroughbred Aftercare Day today. We've talked about it, a few times during the meeting yesterday when we had John Wager in here, who directed the movie that kind of focuses on aftercare. We talked a little bit about, and the movie focuses on some of the organizations that will be here. So again, they're doing great work with retired thoroughbreds. These various organizations, they'll be represented over on the front side. If you'd like some more information, you can look those folks up and maybe donate as well. But Thoroughbred Aftercare Day today, so keep that in mind. And keep in mind also tomorrow, it's Trucker Hat Giveaway Day. So if you want to come up tomorrow and enjoy a giveaway, if a trucker hat was not in my wheelhouse, but I know a lot of people appreciate it. And tomorrow, free giveaway with paid admission here at the track while supplies last. Let me also update you on what's coming up. Capital OTB this afternoon. It's the Play the Board contest. Stop by the Racebook. You can have a little extra fun with the $100 Play the Board contest today. Tomorrow it's the Knockout Challenge. Again, also at the Clubhouse Racebook. That's tomorrow, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Also tomorrow it's a Fan Appreciation Day at both Boulevard Bowl and Queensbury. So if you'd like to stop by those locations, if you're a patron, stop by tomorrow, both of those spots or either one of those spots, and let us say thank you to you. Always fun. Food, PPs, contest is a lot of fun. That's tomorrow, Friday. Boulevard Bowl in Queensbury. Saturday, King of the Hill contest at the Clubhouse Racebook. That should be a lot of fun as well. Relatively new, maybe about a month old now, but still new contest at the Racebook. On Saturday afternoon. Bounty bet returns on Saturdays throughout the meet. The late pick 5, so keep that in mind. Play it with your Capital OTB bet account, and you're in for a shot at the bounty. And Sunday, I will again be trying to knock the pick 3 bankroll out of the park. You can sign up starting tomorrow at noon at capitalotb.com to see if you can get out of the bankroll team.
We talked about it earlier. Are you playing a caveman ticket predominantly, or are you breaking it up?
I'm kind of doing both.
Okay.
I put together a caveman ticket in the hopes that something kooky happens, but I'm backing up if it doesn't. And then I go a little stronger, a little more logically, but I may have kind of a price in that mix as well. So I've mixed it up a little bit. And we've been alive. The 3 weeks that we hit something, we've been alive for a pretty good price in each of those going into the last leg of one of the pick threes. But the 2 weeks, I said yesterday, that the 2 weeks I missed on, I just, going back and reviewing, I wasn't going to hit no matter what I did there. But
as a generic question, you might not have the answer to, or an answer might not exist. Is there a different schools of thought playing the pick 3, the pick 4, the pick 5, or are they strikingly similar?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, personally, my strategy is probably fairly similar. Because I go caveman if I play pick 4.
Because there's very little discussion about the pick 3 anymore. Yet when it came and like things that are new, the daily double +1, and people might not believe this, that there was only like 2 a day. It was sporadic, but it was, people were chomping at the bit to play it. And then the pick 4 came. But I was wondering, because you would think the pick 3 would not grind up your bankrolls quickly, and thus you could play it maybe looser. Because as I've said before, the only thing I can assimilate it to is the trifecta as a function of the superfecta. And that's the big thing. The superfecta is really, in my opinion, probably the 3 best one-dimensional advices I've ever received at the track. Was a friend of mine 30 years ago that said playing the superfecta is a function of your bankroll. You bet the all. There's no rational way to play it all the time. You just can't. When we do races, I mean, any horse could run fourth, and you get rewarded by the people who are buying small tickets that play like the top 6 horses to run fourth. So it eats up your bankroll. There's no more obviously when you hit the all ball, there's no more handicapping. Now it's just about, you're just looking for a random result. I've said this before a couple years ago. I want to say 2021, the first year after the COVID summer. And one of the things that I do believe happens, I had a jockey with about a 40-1 shot trying very hard for third, and it beat out the favorite. And that, once again, I would love to have known what the price was with the favorite running third, but it made the whole meet by, a jockey trying with a 40-1 shot to run third. The trifecta came back over 600, and I'm just guessing what it would have been with the favorite. But that's the thing to me, because the pick 3, you could stay healthy with your bankroll for a long time swinging for the fences. And I don't know what is swinging for the fences at pick 3? $200?
Well, I've been live for 400 or 600.
Okay. That's got to be it's not too many $1,000 pick 3s, are there?
Yeah, you wouldn't think.
No. Okay. So I just a thought, I'd be intrigued. If other people out there that play the pick 3, because it seems like the pick 5 is a lot of people's bankroll now.
Yeah.
When they put the mutual pools up there, you're like, oh my goodness, am I missing the boat? But I don't think I am, because I think I'm going to get my head bashed in when I play it. But I have my thoughts. And another thought is,
let me just give an update on what's coming up at the top of the hour. Racing across America. Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum, as usual, on a Thursday. Thursday's the Racing Forum. Horacio De Paz won a stakes race yesterday.
How could he not?
I said, come over. He was at it surrounded, certainly. He was with
the right one won.
I liked Awesome Check, and we'll talk about that. Some of the other, he's having a nice little meet. And then Laura Simiel, who does the breakfast commentary over there, went and shot some video a few days ago of breakfast and the tram tour to the backside. They also have the breeding farm tours now, which tie in with breakfast. So I thought with a little more than a couple weeks
left. They do
left,
breakfast every day?
Yeah.
I should have come up today.
Laura's only over there Friday through Sunday with her commentary, but they do Wednesday and Thursday breakfast as well.
I might come up Sunday.
It looks.
I will say this,
and you could do it before TV because it starts 7:30.
I would be here very early because I would go over to. My plan would be to go to Oklahoma for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and come over and check her out. and I'm still going to beat you here.
But
Sunday is good for me.
We're gonna
not a long day.
Plug a little breakfast as well. All of that.
Always enjoyed it. Always enjoyed it. All right, now time for the DePaula Chevrolet Play of the Day.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey everybody, Steve Bick back with you for the Thursday DePaula Play of the Day. And I'm coming to you from Amherst, New York, one of the locations of the great Ted's Red Hots. If you've been out here, you know what I'm talking about. Got a foot long. I didn't have the Loganberry, though. I had a milkshake. On the route toward Toronto and Woodbine and Saturday's King's Plate, my first King's Plate, the oldest continuously run stakes race in North America. But we need a winner on Thursday, and it's in the 10th race. It's a first-level allowance that Tom Amos has Riley Jean, a gun runner filly that only broke her maiden in May and then came back and cleared an allowance condition that you would think makes her ineligible for this. But on the money side of things, the money won, she is eligible, and she just missed by 3/4 of a length on July 20th up here. Riley Jean is 8-1, and I think she's dirtied up in here for that reason. And I am all over it. 8-1. She can be fairly close to the pace. She can sit mid-pack and stalk under Tyler Gaffleone. 8-1, Riley Jean, the 9-horse in the 10th race Thursday. Let's get lucky, everybody. Talk to you Sunday. Enjoy the weekend.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Handicappers Report 10-race card, kicking off at 110 with State Breds, 2-year-old maiden special weights going 6.5.
5'9", 8 and 3. I will put number 5 Manhattan Twist on top by Liam's Map. Liam's Map this year is the sire. 45 first-time starter, 7 wins, 5 seconds, 6 thirds. Sibling called He Done Me Wrong Song. Won the first start, won the third start. Extreme Mayhem, another sibling, won the career debut. So win early, top and bottom. Todd Pletcher can certainly have them ready. So I'll go with Manhattan Twist. Keeping it real in the second spot, Chad Brown can also have them ready. City of Light, 39 first-time starters this year. 6 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. Sibling called Wine Responsibly, won in the second career start. So again, a little nature and nurture with the breeding and the trainer. They can have them ready. Keeping it real in the second slot. And then Vibrant Express, firster from George Weaver. Again, Vacoma, very good as a win early sire. And the Dan produces sibling called 419 that won the first 2 career starts. So similar scenario for all 3. Win early with the breeding. Trainers can have them ready. Man of Mischief, experience does count, and I won't ignore the Ken McPeak runner with the experience under the belt. There's some win early there, too, and a good second debut. So wouldn't talk anybody off of the 3, 5, 9, 8, and 3.
He Done Me Wrong song? Was that B.J. Thomas when we were much younger?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know, to tell you the truth, but that sounds right. Yeah,
so you said that, I was like, and I listen to old fart radio a lot, and I haven't heard that in a long time, but I was quality hit. I think that.
Oh yeah,
not like a number one thing, but it was
I can
pretty
still
good.
hear it in my head, so that had to be playing at some point.
And I know you mentioned the 3 in your 4th spot, right?
Yeah.
So we were in the same thing. I did not go to the dummy meeting, go to the Todd Pletcher firster in my group, but I did go to the George Weaver firster, Seth third pick, the Vacoma thing, who just doing very well. But what I like is, I kind of started to hit on this last year, that Vibrant Express seems to have figured this out, or George Weaver presumes he's figured it out quick enough to go to the races with. You don't see this too often anymore, Seth. Remember, the daily racing form will list 12 workouts before your debut. I don't see a horse going to the post with, 5 5 workouts, and it seems to have figured it out from the gate. Breezy, I'm taking Vibrant Express for a second Man of Mischief, second career start. My one thought here is this is just the, not the full complement less well, because this horse was 4-1 on debut. So it was, it was a known commodity to a degree, and ran well, finishing second. That was on July 25th. Almost in this day and age, Seth, that's a quick turnaround, almost 3 weeks to the day. So I'm just going to expect a slight regression off of the 67 buyer. And for third, I'm on the outside, keeping it real. Chad Brown's Offspring of City of Light and 839. And every time, Seth, without fail, when I hear Liam's map, which I think is the stallion of your top pick, all I can think about is how much I wished he had run in the Classic and not the Dirt Mile in 2015, and taking on American Pharaoh instead of, just backhanding the milers down at Keeneland.
Second race this afternoon at Saratoga, $32,000 plain vanilla claimers on the grass at a quick 5.5.
Quick note, today is Thursday, and we got close, Seth, to the TU guys, but they've re-energized themselves on the backstretch. I think they have a 4-length lead going in today. So my point is, like, you see 10, 2, 7. That's the 10 is the MTO, because I don't want to hurt my team. I don't think there's a good chance the MTOs are getting in today. So this race was even goofier because my picks are, I want the 2X, 7, and then the 2. Did you have a preference? I noticed you have the 2 on top.
It's 2X for me.
Right. I think, and we like to, I want to be clear. Sometimes I like the entry. I think we're going to see that later, but I want the 2X in here. Is this the race that there's the 3C? Yes, this is the 3C. We don't see this too often anymore. So it's 2X, 7, and 2 for me in the turf race that I believe we're going to have. And High Front making the second start of the year. The return was on Independence Day. Plenty of time in my book to come back. Christophe Clement having, once again, you got to quantify, we got the grade 1 on Sunday. The win percentage does not it looks anemic, quite frankly, but he's got almost a dozen, his horses are running okay. I am not afraid of this. I'll be interested to see if it's a 3-prong entry. Number 7 is my second pick. That's Chess Master making the seasonal debut. I told you, years ago, we've talked about this, Seth. That would just be a line through it. Horse making a seasonal debut, 2 races to get in. Forget that. So Chess Master off the bench for Jorge Abreu for me. And then the 2 that I, do not want in the first spot for third, that's Heaven Streak with Jose, but 2X, 7-2.
I also have the 2X parsed out, but certainly rooting for the other parts of the entry. Heaven Street, the plain 2 is Michael Dubbin, America's Pastime, the local ownership group, and their co-ownership league of their own, which focuses on kind of the female side of folks who want to join into the game. Part owner of
He's Got
It 2B. So again, I'm rooting for the entire, but I much prefer the 2X High Front. But that said, it's one of these fields that I find a head scratcher in that the most recent race or 2 aren't as good as ones you got to look further down the page at. And that's where I am with High Front. Down the page, they're pretty good. I'm hoping with the seasonal debut, we move forward and rebound to those. That's what I'm counting on. All of that said, Rhythm Nick, the number 3, maybe is the one with the recency. The last race for this one, the number was maybe a little bit lighter than I would like, but it was a win. So Rhythm Nick with that recency attracts my attention, and then Chessmaster in the 3rd spot. Again, with numbers a little further down the page. Now, this one's also coming off a layoff. The last race that wasn't as good as the ones further down the page was in October. So I'm not sure what we're going to get, but I think we're coming back at probably the right level given what we saw towards the end of last year. So 2X, 3, 7, and 5.
Third race on the card, 3-year-olds and up, open company, maiden special weights, going a mile on the dirt.
This one I have both halves of the entry, 1 and
Me
1A, 2, 3, and 5. I could make a case for both in here. Pentathlon for Shug comes in off a couple of nice and improving starts to begin the year. Third start back could be primed, but certainly the debut effort from Upstanding for Pletcher and Rapoli was good enough to think, you know what, had a little trouble at the start, got off a little slowly, still played into the game early in the meet, should be set up to run well this afternoon. So either half of the entry are intriguing. Quando in the second spot seems comparable to the top two, given what we saw in the last couple of starts number-wise, but those were on the turf. I kind of like the turf to dirt move here, though, and the dirt races underneath are okay. Dylan Davis on board, 10-1 on the morning line. When you see a little price that with Dylan at the meet, maybe you got to take an extra look. Bourbon's Fault going out for a group that includes West Point, and I think the Dallas Stewart runner probably has to step it up a little bit. They might get a little price there as well. I have it the 1 entry, 2, 3, and 5.
If they were uncoupled, I think it would be very intriguing. Who do you think Upstanding or Pentathlon?
I know that's a good question.
Maybe even money 6-5.
Yeah.
Maybe they would. It's splitting hairs, which is probably why David Aragona correctly bundling them together makes them 2-5. I mean, these are the chances of these, and this is people that really, this is a chance where a high probability that they both hit the board. So the pools will be not split 3 ways, but 2 ways. I have the entry here. I'm either one in case. I'm presuming the St. Elias ownership is the coupling in here. So I would presume they're both gonna go in here. I just think it's a big. It's ironic though, Seth. We have nothing comparable underneath. I had the 4, the 5. You had the 2 and the 3. But I think inside, outside. I looked at this race and when the morning line. I looked at this race and then the morning line came out. Which, by the way, I don't think I've said at this meet. Especially nowadays where you get the early entries come out, you can download them. I've advocated this before to our audience. If you follow the game, closely year round, even if it's weekends year round, handicap one day without the morning line and make your 1, 2, 3 picks and then go check out the morning line. And if your horse is 10, 15-1 on top, stay with it. I mean, I really think I tell people why I don't do it. I don't want to handicap and have my horse come up 8-5 and re-engineer backward. But I think for the casual fan out there, take a shot at it without the morning line and see what you come up with. Because I think it takes a certain level of discipline to do it without the morning line. And I think you'll be happy with the results. I said, just, you'd be surprised that, some of your 10-1 nuggets or even 6-1 nuggets are, you're right and they're not. And then I have Bourbon's Fall underneath for Dallas Stewart, who I do think is going to run sharply in the second race of the year. But it's hard to get past the exact the entry, and making a one punch. I think I'm about 0 for 6, Seth, with that, going back the last 2 summers where I remember Nest, I had an idea for her in the Alabama, a one punch, and I think I ran third. But I haven't hit any of those one punch where, for vertical players, I see no other way to play this race. You have to have a strong opinion to run under, and you have to be right.
I would be happy to handicap without the morning line, but I need the numbers, and I can't figure out why the numbers don't immediately show up on the
the program numbers?
Yeah.
Why do you need the program numbers?
Because I give out the chicklets and I talk about them on the show, and so if I don't have them, then I just have to go back. It's a whole extra step where you're writing in the numbers.
Yeah, that's what I do after the thing, after I handicap. It is one more step. I don't want to deal.
Because then you're invariably going to miss an entry at some point, and
yes, I have done that, so I am slow and methodical now. But you are right. You will make a mistake transcribing. I agree with that.
Dark horse play of the day today is in race number 6. Yesterday, I was kicking myself because Tipple ran back, who I had early in the meet as a dark horse. I mentioned that yesterday and said I'd play around Tipple, which I did, and wound up to be a fun race because my top pick just edged Tipple but Tipple ran great. So, there was a decent little place and show there. And then my actual dark horse wasn't as good. So I was kicking myself that I didn't use Tipple. Had my dark horse not been in there, the horse I used, I would have gone with Tipple. So again, kind of kicking myself a little bit. But we'll see today, sixth race, maiden specials going a mile and 16. I'm going to go with Snippity Snip. Brendan Walsh, first-time starter by Gervin. Gervin's a good first-time outsider. This year, 29 firsters, 4 wins, 4 seconds, 5 thirds. Last year, overall during 2023, 47 first-time starters, 8 wins, 6 seconds, 5 thirds. So solid numbers for Gervin. Dan produced a sibling called Princess Fausia that won its career debut. So I thought there was win early, top and bottom. This one had been working at Turfway, brought to Saratoga. The Saratoga workout didn't necessarily get a stellar review, but you know what? I think it may just been a maintenance getting the horse up here from a steady string of decent workouts at Turfway before that at Keeneland. I think this horse could be well met in debut. Tyler Gaffleone on board. So in the sixth race, our dark horse play of the day, race number 6, horse number 3, Snippity Snip, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga and their sister store, Impressions of Saratoga. Again, I tout it as a couple of spots to visit. If you're at the track, go downtown for dinner. Both shops are open later. You can stop by, browse through. You will be happy you did. Thanks again to Dark Horse and Impressions for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, a pick 4.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Second time I got it right. Earlier I was labeling it as Saturday, but I don't want to rush things here. But again, a gorgeous day, more horses working out. I just got a text back from Horacio De Paz. We will have him in another day. It looks like he in fact has a horse schooling over in the paddock. So he didn't think he was going to be able to make it, as it turns out. So we'll plug him in because, again, he's having a nice meet, had the nice stakes win yesterday. But we will plug along at 10 o'clock and make it work. Race number 4, though, on the Handicappers Report, we're looking at plain vanilla claimers. They're coming out of the chute and going a mile.
Boy, good luck to the pick 4 players kicking it off here. And I guess the other side of that coin is Brian Addo told me, he goes, if you have an opinion here, your opinion is more valuable than the mutual for this race, because I have the 2, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7. I mean, it's, I'm thinking that the 1 is the only toss here. How often can you spread? I don't know. But if you have an opinion, and Seth and I agree, very much so, Kim on top. Classic Mark, 3rd start of the year, first off the claim. Both starts very sharp, going out now for Joe Sharp, who claimed this horse for 16 back in late July up here off of a good effort. Horse who was 1 going a mile before. That was last summer. So Classic Mark is, the one of the, what I think are the tight 5 that are vying for winning here. He's got this. Mike Maker's $40,000 claim makes the first start since May 31st, coming out of a 1 mile race, which is the one turn at Churchill Downs, making the Saratoga debut. And for third, number 5, Wesley Ward sends out this runner off for a good effort, going 9 furlongs, 2 turns at Churchill, but a wide open race, 2-7-5.
2, 5, 6, and 7. Classic mark on top for me as well. Off the claim, Joe Sharp, very good off the claim. I think this horse is going to be a nice little fit in with this particular bunch, and Gaffleone jumps on board. Ministerial in the second spot. Came back in February with the waiver, so got to go, in a 20 claimer, but was not up for sale. Then subsequently comes back for 12.5 down at Churchill. Now comes back up to New York and goes for 20. On the numbers, on the better numbers on the page, fits. But the finishing position so far in the 2 starts this year, I'm a little bit skeptical. We'll see, but it's Wesley Ward, and again, coming in from Churchill off a 1.8 miles, cuts back to the mile. I thought the horse was interesting, but no standout. Again, this is a field where it's tough to get super excited about anything. All about the money in the 3rd spot. Nice little second place finish on the move up to Saratoga. In the latest effort, I think is going to be a player again with this particular group. So for me, again, with tepid selections here, let's put it that way. 2, 5, 6, and 7.
I can foresee this coming for me in the near future with the pick 5 is I'm going to, I'm not, I can, no, I know me, I'm not going to be spreading in races like this. I have basically thought in my mindset, I'm only looking at it 3 times on days when I'm right with the type of horse I'm going to pick in the next race. That might be $22. I'm just built more that way. I'm just going to make a stand with these and go on, because the one thing is I expect to lose probably 120 times and win 3 times and have it outrun it. I mean, I expect to lose, but I expect to lose on the frequency. I expect to win on the money, which is really all I care about. But, so to me, I wouldn't spread in that race. I'd go with classic mark and I'm moving on. And if I tear up the ticket in the first leg, so be it. We move on, etc. So on to the 5th. Speaking of moving on, State Breds going 6.
8, 3, 4, and 7. Very stormy on top. Nice improvement start 1 to start 2. That often happens with horses. The biggest improvement they have is from the first to the second start. But being lightly raced, I could see moving forward again a little bit. Luis Saez is, after a slow start, riding very well, and he jumps on board here. So I think, kind of all systems go here for this one. But again, doesn't jump off the page. I think there are comparable runners, including He Has It All, going out for Adelphi Racing. Try to get those folks in. With Panda Gate coming up in the Albany a little bit later on. Ray Handel having a very nice meet, and this one comes in off a turf try up here at Saratoga, having shown some early speed. I like the turf to dirt move. The dirt races just prior were good enough, and then Romantic Charmer in the 3rd spot. Tossed in kind of a clunker last time. 3 starts back on the dirt, ran okay, though. I guess I'm looking to get back to that. But again, a little bit inconsistent, but on a better effort, fits in. And as I kind of alluded to, another race where I don't know. I left the Belmont. Was the Belmont runner the favorite? Yeah, the morning line favorite, Concord Spirit. I wouldn't talk anybody off of that horse, but I don't know whether I'm super excited to take that one as the favorite. So I left it out of my mix. Would be no shock by any means, but I have it 8, 3, 4, and 7.
And this race is, as I alluded to, classic example. I would live and die with the 4. On a given day, Romantic Charmer. I think, if you're right, it gives me playability in other races, and I think I'm, kicking out a large percentage of players. That's another thing I'd love to see is should be a board when they come up is below the mutual, the next one, percentage of tickets in the pick 3, the pick 4, the pick 5. You'd be like, Romantic Charmer be like 4% or something. You'd be like, here's a chance. And I just think you make certain stands and you move on. Like Seth said, Concord Spirit, I'd be happy to, single and bet against. Call Bob, 7-2 in here. He Has It All. You have 4 horses basically between, 2.5 to 1 and 4.5 to 1. Well, they're going to carry, I don't know, 70% of the horizontals. And we'd be sitting there. I notice you have Romantic Charmer in third. And yes, I have to run a little bit better. But here's the question. How much better do I have to run than the 1 mile race 3 races back? I'm in the mix at $26. So that I like Romantic Charmer with Kendrick Carmouche riding for the first time. He has it all. Also, Seth's card here, Ray Handel. We talked about him yesterday. A great meet. And then for third, Call Bob, making the third start since the first day of spring. 4-3-7.
In the sixth at Saratoga this afternoon, we're looking at maiden special 2-year-old fillies. They're going to go on the turf at 8.5 furlongs.
And even though I have to play for the team, I did take 2 shots in here, and they are back-to-back. This is the second one. 6, 10, 5. Chelsea's Choice is my top pick, a Bill Mott filly debuting at offspring of American Pharaoh. And even though he won the American Triple Crown, I think he's been a slightly better turf stallion. I don't think his dirt horses have really, because now you start to think that, American Pharaoh's almost old news as a stallion.
Yeah.
And so my point is, I don't think you're going to change, as Coach Parcells would say, he now is who he is as a stallion. But it's 10-1 on the morning line. Bill Mott with a filly. A Warfront on the bottom might even help more. Chelsea's Choice, 10-1 on the morning line, my top pick. On the outside of the main body, number 10, Wonderland. Mark Cassie's 2-year-old meet has been very good, and she's got Will, Mark Cassie's War of the Will offspring, with Dylan Davis at 10-1, 6-10-5.
Yeah, I just pulled up American Pharaoh first time out last year because I had the whole year. I'm guessing it's about 50-50 between dirt as opposed to synthetic and turf.
Okay.
With horses hitting the board in their first, just looking at the first start of the career. So it is kind of balancing out, certainly, at least between the two. 3, 4, 9, and 2 for me. The aforementioned Snippety Snip as my dark horse play of the day. Mentioned it before. I thought there was some nice breeding with Gervin on top. Dan produced a first out winner. So we'll tilt in that direction. Gaffleone on board. Competitive market as the team I always appreciate up here at Saratoga with debut runners Chad and Klarovich. Authentic, okay with first-time starters. So we'll see. The workouts are all right. And then in the third spot, Dr. Glick. It's the other Chad Brown by Constitution, who's very good. And again, another one of those races where I have 3 first-time starters, but the horse with experience in my mix never really know. Second-time starter for Norm Cassie. Wouldn't talk anybody off of that one because experience does count. 3, 4, 9, and 2.
I think for people that have followed the game like the last 4 or 5 years would be very surprised at the evolution Klarovich and Mike Rapoli's operation has taken. If you look at who they were compared to who they are, it's about as stark a growth in the game as ownership as you would see.
Yeah.
I mean, Klarovich was they've been around a long time. Silks are very memorable. And they had a nice operation. And when we come back from the break, we'll have the Rick Violet, who was one of their mainstay trainers. Yeah. And one of their first big-time horses, a Grade 1 winner, was trained by Gary Siaka, right? Was it Subordination? Went out to Del Mar and won the Eddie Reed at Grade 1. I think Gary Siaka was a trainer. I'll look that up. But when we come back, the Rick Violet.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, 1998, when the Eddie Reed was a Grade 1 subordination, went out to California. Gary Siaka, trainer. They enlisted the services of David Flores, and they got the money.
Excellent.
Not too many East Coast horses have gone out west with great success. But that was, I don't know if that was Gary Siaka's first Grade 1 race or such, but I remember it being, because obviously I'm the West Coast bias guy. So I remember the East Coast went out there, handed them their head.
So take that, West Coast.
What?
Take that, West Coast.
Yeah, he did. It doesn't happen too often. But I think there's one time when it was like the list was like Sultry Song won the Hollywood Gold Cup in 92, Cigar and Concern. Those they were very rare that the East Coast horse goes out there. And
there was a
success.
time when I first got into the game, going back and forth wasn't that much of a thing, even really.
No, absolutely.
I mean, you weren't seeing
Coach.
You weren't seeing Charlie Whittingham in New York.
No.
So.
You're 100% right. On to the 7th. We miss him dearly, the Rick Violet.
Yeah, and appropriate, and that's why it's here on Aftercare Day. Rick was really one of the driving forces for Aftercare in New York, and it's gone far too soon. 6, 4, 8, and 3. Russian Realm on top. Only 3 starts. They've all been on the dirt, but I thought they were pretty good. Broke the maiden in start 2 with a nice performance. Then got that experience at the next level, as oftentimes it'll take a horse to kind of figure it out. Ran a good second. Now tries the turf. Now, the Dam Constitution, 14% on the turf, and the Dam was mostly turf. So I think the surface switch is not going to be an obstacle. Lightly raced, maybe some upside. We'll put Russian Realm on top. Second spot, our friends at Saratoga. I really debated. I thought Courtly Banker, this is a horse that's still a maiden, but a maiden that has run second in a couple of stakes races. And I think off of what we've seen so far, I think Courtly Banker is a real player in here. Elysian Meadows in the second or in the third spot for me. Mostly dirt so far in the turf race. Wasn't, doesn't jump off the page, but it was against Open Company, and that's notable to me. Last couple of starts, the Mike Lee and the New York Derby on the dirt. I think this one could be interesting in here. And Instamatic looks like a player as well. Third start back this season, a couple of nice improving efforts. Number-wise, they're both wins. So Instamatic certainly deserves to be in the conversation as well. But I have it 6, 4, 8, and 3.
I'm wondering if I fell off my chair and hit my head at home when I did this race, because I've taken horses and I'm comfortable enough. I mean, it's a reach at a bad price for me on top. 863. What I'm talking about here is I have basically cast aside horses that have quality turf races under their belt, and 2/3 of my trifecta are reaches, including on top, Elysian Meadows. And at 7-2, I didn't see that coming, I guess, because I really thought we'd be much higher. As you said, there's just the one race on the turf and wasn't that memorable, but did receive a healthy enough buyer. Speed figure. It's in the hands of Bill Mott. But Bill Mott went to the Mike Lee and the New York Derby. It was not going to the Albany. So it's a bad price at what the function of price and the questions is way out of whack. Bad for me. There's too many questions for 7-2. You're not supposed to have this many questions. Russian Realm, his first time on the turf, and the pedigree is there. It's kind of intriguing. Yes, it's a stake race. The dirt races are good, like not the Albany. It's just very intriguing. And then Instamatic, who is the turf horse trying to make it 3 in a row. I've seen, even for myself, Seth, I've seen this in very funny way. As I said, the price is not right for what I'm asking the 8 to do in here. And Instamatic, sharp going 2 turns. Courtly Bankard, you had the 4. Okay, see, you got enough sleep. You saw the race far better than me. But those are the numbers, 8-6-3.
And I will say, I'm curious to how it'll shake out odds-wise, too. I'm not sure you can absolutely depend with horses trying the turf for the first time. David Aragona is very good, and I'm sure he's right in the ballpark. But with first time, or like Elysian Meadows, second time turf, I'd be interested to see how it does actually shake out.
I have to tell you, I thought the horse would be about 6-1, and I thought I had a sneaky good horse. I don't have a sneaky good horse. I have a horrible pick as a function of price, which is everything for me.
8th race this afternoon, optional claimer with a C condition. They're vying for $120,000. They'll go 9 furlongs.
2-3-1. I'm all inside here, folks. And Donegal Forever is my top pick. We have the same exacta. Todd Pletcher's under big effort, winning the 2X race. That was down at Aqueduct, similar configuration. Second, Cookie Creek going out for Mike Maker, seems to be a very sharp $40,000 claim off of a February race. That was 2 races back, and from the rail, number 1. Olympic Dreams, an outsider here. This is one of those cases where I'm thinking, for me, Olympic Dreams for third is the high watermark. This isn't a third place runner that I think can go higher. I think third is the high watermark. 2-3-1.
I have a 2, 3, 5, and 6. I went with Donegal Forever on top. Nice win last time. This is a horse that has shown some promise, and I kind of lived up to it. It's won half of the starts, but the races the horse hasn't won, a couple of them aren't much. But I do think this horse probably is more talented maybe than that overall record indicates. We'll see a little more of that today. Jay Provenzano, Flying P Stable with a very good meet, brings Cook Creek in here off a couple of nice wins, claimed the horse 2 back. That was a win. Then for, the Flying P Barn, won off the claim. Those are both down at Churchill. Churchill runners have been doing well up here. And Tabagouche in the 3rd spot, if I came close to pronouncing that, showed some speed last time down at Belmont at Aqueduct before just getting caught late. That speed could be dangerous in here in the 8th. 2, 3, 5, and 6.
We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late Daily Double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back. 9th race. Inner turf course, state breds, maiden special weights, 1 mile and 16.
5, 7, 11, and 8 for me. I'm going to put Amplitude on top. First time starter from Chad and Klarvich. I mentioned earlier, I always pay attention to that team up here at Saratoga with debut runners. The lone racing sibling did take 8 to win, I will note. But Uncle Mo, very good on top. And with these connections, and in this field, I'm going to tilt there. Amplitude on top. Second spot, New York Scrappy going out for Mark Cassie. Speaking of having a good meet, he's having a fabulous meet. The turf debut was decent. Third place finish with a number that mixes it up with this group. Followed up on the dirt, not so good. They get back to the turf today. They stretch out in the third start. So I think that one's a player. And then Wind Dancer. Dave Donk Runner, and Dave's going well over the past couple of weeks. And this one, I think, is a player in here off the numbers in the first two starts. But another one of those that mile and 16th on the turf, and we're stuck out in the far outside post position. We'll see. Has that obstacle to overcome. But 5, 7, 11, and 8.
And just a quick note and a compliment to Danny back in studios. If you're picking up the Times Union, I'm the guy today on our team, and you're seeing these, Danny has updated them and dropped my MTO in the last 2 races as my top pick. So if you get the TU and you're wondering what's going on, Danny's doing yeoman effort, and because in the TU it'll be 13.75, but I sent it in and Dan updated the last race, this race, so it's 7, 5, 11. We're in the same exact mix. I'll tell you, Seth, the only difference for me was, I had the first time starter versus a horse making a third career start. And even, you almost might say the old days, he got the 2 sprints, and now it's the race he was looking for. So very similar for me, 7, 5, 11.
And I'll toss it out. Speaking of 2 sprints, I'll toss this out there. I've mentioned it over the years. And it was a long time ago. And I've tried to
look. You can tell the first guess has not made it today.
Oh, no. So, no, the second guess. But I wanted to bring this up because you mentioned the 2 sprints. And
Yes.
I did get a fill in.
Triple tasking.
And I've tried to look it up since, and I can't find it because it was a long time ago. But I read a stat, and over the years, it's played out nicely. Horses, either beginning of the career, more often off a break, 6 months or whatever. If they come back and they race 2 sprints, third start back, stretch out, it's often a very good play, and oftentimes at a price because the 2 sprints don't have to be that good.
No, stay in shape.
And then the third start back, the stretch out.
I'm a believer.
So just kind of take a look at that, in the past performances if it comes up and watch it. Because this was the article I read, somebody had done a real study in stats, and it jumped off the page. He or she, I think it was a he, said, this is my most potent stat. And I've watched it ever since, and it works out okay. 10th race today. Allowance non-winners of 1 other than 5.5 on the grass.
I'm sure I was going to wait for the I'm sure Danny is up to 5, 3, 10. Once again, the MTO will be on top in the Times Union, but the 5, 3 were under it. So I think it's an intriguing walkout race, folks. Leslie's Humor to me comes off of the Monmouth win, and we talked about this earlier in the meet, the Lake George surge capacity for Chad Brown. I don't think anything less of winning at Monmouth. Nothing at all.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's to me, I might have 30 years ago, but I don't anymore. I think a lot of trainers in the turf courses are getting a race, and Leslie's Humor, first-time turf, down the road, takes on winners today for second. Number 3 going out for Joe Sharp. Last race might be better than looks on paper. I'm going to give it a chance. We get a better price because of that race. And on the outside, number 10, Risk Threshold. Yes, you could guess it. Taking on winners for the first time for Klarovich. So 5, 3, 10 in the finale.
I'm surprised with the Rice coming in from Presque Isle. You didn't have heavy rules in the mix. But Adam Rice is really the one to pay attention to. But 4, 8 coming here anyway. 4, 8, 10, and 6 for me. Strictly Taboo on top. Christophe Clement runner. I looked at yours. I have no arguments with Leslie's Humor. I tilted towards Strictly Taboo off the last couple of races, which are wins. Proud Mary, Mark Hennig runner, third in the last couple of starts, but I think is racing in a way that mixes it up here. Risk Threshold, it's Chad and Klarovich off a nice maiden breaker that I think make that one. But again, with the outset, no, at the 5.5, you have plenty of room to find some, position going into the turn, but they are on the outside. And then I did, in the 4th spot, put the Kevin Rice runner, who comes in off some nice races at Presque Isle. But 0 for 10 at Saratoga the last 5 years. Adam Rice, again, is the one who comes to Saratoga loaded, had that nice sprinter, close the game sugar this year for Adam. But for me, in the 10th, 4, 8, 10, and 6.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful morning. Going to be a beautiful day. He stays, I go. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.